I'm so glad you're here. This is a replay of a live training I did inside the OTs for Pelvic Health Facebook group with Lindsey Vestal, and I wanted to make sure that everyone gets access to it. Pelvic health is such an incredibly fulfilling specialty, and it's growing so much. I've been training OT since 2018, and my goal is to have over 10,000 OTs trained by the year 2030. I'm so glad you're here learning about this specialty. I hope that you can join us in the OTs for Pelvic Health Facebook group with me, Lindsey Vestal. I will link to the group below in the show notes and description. Thank you so much.
Welcome, everyone. It is a thrill. It is an absolute thrill to be joining you on this Tuesday after Labor Day with Lynn Schulte. Lynn, so happy to have you back here on the OTs for Pelvic Health Facebook group.
Thank you, Lindsey. I always love any opportunity to talk with you, with anybody about this topic. So thank you for the opportunity.
The opportunity to talk, we just can't talk about this enough. And in fact, that's why you're here, because you were recently at the OTs for Pelvic Health Summit. You got to talk all about how birth trauma impacts us. And I'll tell you what, Lynn, the energy that we felt being live together, attending your talk, being with each other, I just cannot thank you enough. What an incredible weekend.
It was so fantastic to just meet everybody. And what I said at the start of my talk, what I loved the most was getting the hugs from everybody because I had been hug deprived for the last, I have 2 years of hugging to make up for. And so it was just so great to feel and hug each other and to be in everyone's presence again. And the excitement that you created in bringing us all together, Lindsey, was just phenomenal. Such a great event.
This community makes this so easy. I'll tell you what, because I personally had 3 years of hugs to make up for. I had been living abroad for the last 3 years, and our community just grew so much that to be able to, just like you said, literally look each other in the eyes and hug and feel that passion. I talked about this a little bit in the opening talk. We're siloed a little bit, right? We may be the only person doing pelvic health in our practice setting, in our community, in our state, and to be with everyone who gets us. Oh
yeah, right. And it was extra special for me, Lindsey, because you all inducted me to be an honorary OT for the weekend, and I loved it.
It is so funny. It is so funny you say that.
I feel like OTs get me more than PTs. And I feel like I should have been an OT, maybe. I don't know.
Not too late, Lynn. It's not too late.
I just love your approach to working with clients, the holistic approach, the biopsychosocial aspect that you all bring to working with the body is just so important. And I think that as PTs, we can get pretty stuck in the diagnoses. And I'm just going to treat the shoulder, or I'm just going to treat the knee or the pelvis or whatever it is. And really looking at the person in front of us from that holistic lens is just critical for better outcomes for our clients. And you guys do that beautifully.
Yeah. Well, it was so great. I think we were still up there live when we inducted you informally. We said, we think you're an OT, and you were beside yourself with enthusiasm, which just made us just go crazy. And Tiffany Lee's joining us live. And before you even said that, she said, I love her. She is an OT at heart.
Thank you, Tiffany. Yes, I am. I really, truly don't see any differentiation between a PT, pelvic health PT, or pelvic health OT. In my world, we are all skilled, and we all have, it's really the passion that we bring to our work that matters the most. And we can all get the skills and the training that we need to approach our clients. And yet OTs have just such a beautiful insight from that biopsychosocial background that you guys bring to the table. It's so, so critical.
Well, that's what we love about you too, because, I have taken your courses and I can say firsthand that I think is what resonates so much with us is you bring that to every single thing that you do, including your birth healing summit. And so,
Mm.
Lynn, I have a question. Now that it's been a couple weeks, we've had a chance to kind of internalize all the weekend and all that we learned. I'm curious now, have you had anyone reach out to you, or did you have any questions from anyone as they have kind of been internalizing some of the things that you shared with us?
Yeah, I've gotten 2 emails or social media posts. I'm not quite sure where they came through, but 2 OTs reaching out to me afterwards, so excited because they found the open birthing pattern in the pelvis in their clients. One person said, I found it in 3 of my 5 clients today. And I was just giddy inside. I was like, yes, they're looking for it. They're finding it. And what I think I love, the reason I'm so passionate about what I'm sharing with the world is because it works. It's there and it works. Like when you know what to look for, you know how to treat it, you get people feeling better in their bodies instantaneously. And I think that's what it's almost like magic, Lindsey. It really is magical with this work because you can feel the releases, you can feel the body like going back to its original position, and then everything just works so much better. So that was super, super fun. And then the other amazing thing that happened for me is I got a call on Monday morning from Pam, who is the PT instructor, and we're gonna partner together and do some research about this.
Pam Hess, is that right?
Yes, yeah. So yeah, I am super, super excited about that connection.
That's
And
incredible.
what we can do, right? And I just want it done yesterday, but
Well, you
I
essentially have been doing it since, I mean, I would imagine, I would go so far as to maybe even say a decade. Like you have been doing this work for so long that for you to get to this point, it does feel like it needed to have been done already. So I want to do a special shout out to Pam. She was actually a presenter for 2 topics. She did Pilates and pelvic health, a perfect marriage. And then she was on our advocating for pelvic health and OT curriculum panel. And this is a marriage made in heaven. I am so thrilled to hear that you two are going to be working together on that.
Yeah. Let's keep fingers crossed that everything continues to move forward and that we get this work into the research and into the literature. And then maybe more people will take this work seriously. And what I have to say more seriously, because I just don't feel like it's there yet. So
For those of us who have taken your courses and have tried, even just, I mean, this is a huge testament because you gave like a 50-minute lecture. There wasn't a lab portion. And for people to have heard your information and to have felt it without even taking a course yet, I mean, that just speaks volumes, Lynn.
yeah, I was super excited. I was like, oh my gosh, they don't even know what to do, but yet they found it. And so I'm not sure, what they did with it, but even doing the exercise, I did talk about the closing of the bones exercise, was a part of my talk. And so just doing that with every postpartum client, I think would be huge. And I'm going to be speaking at a DoulaCon in Denver here in a couple of weeks. And that's like for doulas, I want them to know how to close up the bones after birth and how to help release the oblique muscles. And those are 2 handouts that I give them all so that they know, like those 2 things. I think if every single person who has given birth to a baby could do those 2 things, we could skyrocket the recovery rate.
All right, let's do this.
Yes, I'm on board. I'm doing it. Thank you for coming along with me, everybody. Thank you.
Yes. Carlin Rayome, who was one of our attendees, just popped in a comment. She said, I just finished working with a client this morning with an open birthing pattern who got immediate relief after I used some of Lynn's techniques. Thank you for sharing your magic, Lynn. Such a gift.
Yay! Great job. Keep it up, please. Keep it up. Keep looking and you're going to find it. I just have to say, I did talk about this at your summit, but I am getting ready to launch my new course, which is treating the postpartum pelvis. And I talked about this at the summit, but It is the 4 patterns, the 4 common patterns I find in the postpartum pelvis, which a lot of you guys are already finding, right? That open birthing pattern. It's how to assess for it and how to treat it. It is 3 hours of content. So it's a very short, concise, organized way. And I talk about each pattern, like what are your clients complaining of? What are the objective findings you're going to find to indicate this pattern? And then how do I treat it? And so each pattern is laid out so beautifully. So if you have taken my holistic treatment of the postpartum body course, this is still a great resource for you to have to take to be able to really understand it from this. I don't lay it out in this way in the holistic course. And so if someone has taken my holistic course, but they're still not quite so sure about these 4 patterns, please consider taking this course. It's, yeah, it can really change things for you.
We'll pop the comments in when we get finished so people can follow that thread.
Okay.
We had another attendee, Suzanne Hertzberg, who was there. She was wondering, Lynn, if you could talk a little bit about the resisted AB adduction and how it helps resolve the open birthing position pattern, maybe is what she meant to say.
Hi, Suzanne. Thanks so much for asking that question. So we're using the adductors and the abductors, and I haven't investigated this enough yet. I kind of played around with it just a couple of times, but I'm not enough to be 100% certain what's happening when we do that. But because the adductors attach into these rami bones, when we're using them, it's helping to, I think, bring these bones closer together. And then the abductors, I think, help actually bring the PSISs together. So we're using the muscles of the hip to help change the positioning of these bones. Okay. So what I would love to do, and in my live courses, I talk about this with my students. I'm like, okay, we need to get someone again to research this and, palpate the PSISs and then do resisted abduction and palpate again and see if you notice a change. Palpate the same bone, resist adduction and see if you noticed a change. Then do the same thing with the ischiums. See how far apart they are, resist abduction, see if you noticed a change, then resist adduction and see if you noticed a change. Okay. Now I haven't done it to that degree. I have assessed, then I've done adductors and then kind of reassessed. And I'm like, oh, I think these are closer together. And then I do abduction. And I think I feel that these are closer. But again, I haven't done it enough yet to really be 100% certain on that. So everybody check it out, do it, see what you find. It's just a matter of assessing and getting a sense of where they're at, having them do the resistance in the 3 positions, reassess it, and then do the other one. Okay. So that is my guess, my best guess of what's happening there.
Well, I love that, Lynn. And I think that if all of us listening could try that throughout this week with our next clients and just continue to learn alongside one another. I mean, we don't necessarily need the research. It's nice, but we all know that what we're finding in the clinic, and then especially when we get together on our Facebook group like this and share our findings and share our wisdom and consult with people like you who have really brought this work into the world, that's where that true change and that snowball effect is going to happen.
Absolutely. We know research is 10 to 20 years behind the A-ball here. And so we are the ones that need to discover that. And that's truly how I have discovered everything that I've just gotten curious with the body and just keep palpating and playing around and seeing what I find and then doing something and see if it made a change and comparing one side to the other side. That's my approach to the body. Can it move?
I think that's beautiful. That curiosity, I mean, it's that true curiosity that is what inventions are made from, and that you have the passion and the curiosity, and that combination together, I mean, the sky's the limit.
Right. And it's just a matter of doing it and comparing. I think I hear from my students sometimes that they're afraid to try new things. And if you follow my two rules that I teach in every single course, we always respect the tissues and we never create pain. So respecting the tissues is never forcing something to happen, right? We encourage, we don't force. And if we don't create pain, then we're most likely not going to create problems. Okay. And so if we can keep that in mind and then just get curious and compare side to side, and tissue needs to move. If it can't move, something is compensating. And the pain is hardly ever where the problem is. So if we have pain in the shoulder, it may be down in the hip. It could be the latissimus is too tight. It could be C1 or 2, whatever it is. Like it doesn't have to, this does not need to be the problem child. It could be somewhere at a distance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we have to stay curious, and we have to learn to listen to the body. And that's the other thing that I'm very gifted in, is being able to tune into what's going on in the body. What do I sense? What do I feel? And let that guide me versus my head. I need to do a grade 4 mobilization to this joint. I don't do that. I don't treat that way anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to the body. I let the body guide me. And it's so much fun. It's so much fun, Lindsey. It's magical. It's magical. And that's what I want to share with people. It's like, we don't have to think too much. I was just working with a student earlier, and I was just like, you have such beautiful hands, and you are so intuitive. I said, I need you to get out of your head and into your hands more, because the hands can guide us more than our head can when we learn to listen to the body.
I think that's great advice in general, to get out of our heads and into our hearts, into our hands, into our curiosity. You fill in the blank.
Right? Whatever it is. But yeah, our head can only take us so far, Lindsey. I say all the time, the body on the table has more wisdom than I do. The body on the table knows what it needs. It's my job to learn to read it and to listen to it. Mm-hmm. And then the magic happens. The magic unfolds. So cool.
I'm curious, Lynn, in your journey, were you kind of always curious, or did you go through your own personal journey where, you sort of had all those objectives, had that rigorousness, and then kind of said, this isn't for me?
It's definitely an evolution. Definitely an evolution, Lindsey. I mean, I remember learning craniosacral therapy and the 10-step protocol through Upledger, right? And I was practicing it. And finally, I just go, I wonder what would happen if I just kind of let my hands go, And so it was that, just allowing myself to be free of the regimen, right? Be free of the rules and regulations, and just let my hands do more, feel more, and trust more in my hands. And what actually ended up happening to me is being a PT, hands on the body. And as my spiritual growth increased, and I became more diligent on the spiritual path, my hands started rising up above the body. And I was like, what's going on? I wasn't trained in this one. I need to know what's going on. What am I doing here? But I just kind of like trusted and let, it's kind of like that Ouija board. Right. And so then I got curious of like, why are my hands doing? Okay, what's going on? What are my hands feeling here? And I was just trying to sense, what do I feel? What do I notice? And it was very slight. So my PT brain was very uncomfortable with that. So I went and I took a Reiki class, because I'm like, oh, maybe this is Reiki, So I took one class, and I was just like, it could be that, but no, that's not my answer. I just need to trust this. Like, this is spirit working through me. I'm going to just allow it to happen to me as I learned more on that spiritual journey. We have these subtle bodies that are energetic bodies surrounding our physical body. And a lot of what happens in our physical body actually gets stuck in the energetic bodies first. And so I felt like I was kind of just clearing those subtle bodies. And so I just kind of just allowed my hands to do what it wanted to do. And then a lot of times I'd be like, okay, that's not enough. I'm going to put my, in my head would force my hands down on the body, because it was like, I started getting uncomfortable with it. But over time, I've become more comfortable, and, sometimes they're off the body, sometimes they're on the body. And I just trust in that now. But it was definitely a journey. But I do have to say, in that journey, the more I grew spiritually, the more that was able to flow through me, and the more I got. And so that's where, like, everything I've discovered came through those intuitive hits of, this nudge in my head saying, look at that, look at this, and I go look at it and be like, oh my God, that just changed everything, and then I saw it over and over and over again. And so that's how I discovered the patterns, was being open to that intuition guiding me. And that's what I want to help others to listen and tune into more, because it's that intuition knows more than our mind, more than any book that we can read,
Yeah. I really appreciate you sharing that with us, because I think a lot of us struggle with maybe these other thoughts or these curiosities, thinking, well, this isn't by the book, this isn't how I learned it. And so hearing your story with that little bit of kind of, finding your way, and then being able to step into that with such radiance and such confidence, is a great story for those of us that may not fit the mold or feel completely comfortable with it. Myself, a similar story in the sense that I took Diane Lee's ISM series very early on in my career. There wasn't a lot of OTs to learn from, and I loved it. I found it so inspirational. That, combined with so many of the other PT-led courses I took, I wasn't finding the joy. I wasn't feeling, wow, I know this is my calling. I know this is what I'm supposed to do, but something wasn't jiving. And once I gave myself permission, and there wasn't a lot of examples out there, Tiffany Lee, who was joining us, was one of my early mentors, but there wasn't a lot of examples. And I really had to take that leap of faith to go, okay. And when I did, I came home so much more satisfied. My clients felt so much more functional gains. And then, of course, just like you're describing, Lynn, a little bit of ebb and flow between, but this is what I'm supposed to do. And I said, the heck with it. Stop listening to that brain and really just like step into where that joy is leading you. So anyone listening and part of this conversation, like whatever that is for you, Lynn and I really encourage you to find it and listen to it in whatever, authentic way you can, because it really does take you places.
Absolutely. And you need to bring your own uniqueness to your work and allow that to guide you, because we all, we're not all meant to treat just like each other. We need to bring our own special sauce to our treatments. And our clients, I truly believe that our clients are the ones we're meant to work with are the ones that come to us. And so there's this connection that I almost say is preordained in a way, and that they're there for a reason, and we have something that they're there to give, whether we get them better or not, right? Yeah. We're meant to be interacting for however long that is. And the more we can open up to allow, I think that intuition is really spirit talking and working through us. And the more we can allow that to happen, the better results that there really are. So trust it.
So much. You're 100% right. And I think so much of what we do is planting seeds. And sometimes we get the incredible jubilation of seeing the results before we discharge a client. And sometimes, like I know in my practice, people came back years later, or called me or sent me an email saying, listen, I know we didn't work a long time together, but there was this experience that I had that led me down this path or did this. Some of my clients even became pelvic floor therapists. I mean, to be able to see that wheels in motion and to trust that. I think you're right. And thank you for bringing that up, because sometimes we don't get that satisfaction of being able to discharge a client or understand why, we stepped into their life. So thank you for also mentioning that.
Yeah. You're so welcome. I think this work, when you work in that way, it's just so much more fun, Lindsey. And it's so funny that this is coming up, because I was like, before I got on this call, I'm like, what do I want to talk about? What do I want to get across? And it was the magic. It's the magic of really allowing things to flow through you, not from you. There's a huge difference for those of you that are feeling drained at the end of your day. You are allowing things to flow from you versus allowing it to flow through you. So I am just as energized as I am at the end of the day as when I start my day. And that is so important for all of us to be able to get there. And that's, I've done a lot of my own work, and I don't take things on, and I can hold detached compassion for my clients so that I'm there for them, but I don't have to fix or heal them. It's their journey. And I'm just there supporting them on their journey. And so there's a lot that we need to work on in ourselves in order to get to this space, to be able to allow that joy and that magic to happen when we're working with others. So fun.
Such a beautiful thing to bring up, Lynn. And I've often thought that should be part of a PT and OT's curriculum of how to prevent burnout. We all are empaths. We're drawn to this work, yes, and we can share that quality. And it's like, how do we deal with that at the end of the day? So there's more to give for ourselves, for our families, whatever other routine, habit, ritual we want to partake in, because it doesn't just stop when we see that last client at the end of the day. We want to be engaged and energized in all the other roles that we have. And, there's not a rule book out there for that.
No, there's not. But I do have to say, it's doing your work. It's doing your work. And there's a reason, the analogy I like to use is that we're all Swiss cheese and we have holes in us. Mm-hmm. And those holes are kind of like black holes where energy just gets stuck in those holes. And those holes are actually hurts or things that need to be healed. And the more we can work with our own stuff and heal those up so that we become solid, like cheddar cheese or whatever other solid cheese you like. But that's what we're supposed to become, is that whole version of ourselves. And, we need to heal those injuries, those blockages, those whatever that is holding us back. And so, a lot of times our clients can be our mirror to our block. If you find that you keep saying the same thing, or your clients keep saying the same thing in multiple different cases, that might be a message for you. And then once you work with that and heal that, then you don't hear it again. It's really fascinating. Really, really fascinating. And I've also experienced that when I've done my own work and I've healed something, it shows up on my table because now I know how to work with it.
That's so lovely.
Yeah. So it's just so important. And I am really passionate about helping therapists heal themselves. And that is a big part of my birth healing intensive program that's going to be launching next year. It's the same curriculum as my advanced program, but kind of spread out to allow it to really integrate and to do that deeper work that we need to do, to have time to do that work on ourselves and clear ourselves out, so that by the end of the program, my hope is that we're more cheddar cheese than we are Swiss cheese at the end of it. So
will that be in person, Lynn, or online?
A little bit of both. So mainly online, but I'm still in the process of, I've got the majority of the curriculum, but I'm trying to still figure it out. It's going to be a 9-month program.
Okay.
And so there's lots of things that we're going to be doing online work, meeting online, but then also coming in person probably twice throughout that time frame and working with each other in person as well. So
beautiful. We will be on the lookout for that. And your 3-hour course as well. We'll drop all the links in the comments, Lynn. I'm so grateful for you, for all of these incredibly important conversations that, just like pelvic health for our clients, we're not bringing up enough for ourselves. So thank you for all that you bring to us.
Oh, thank you, Lindsey. And thank you for all you did. You guys, for those of you listening in, if you were not able to join us for the OTs and Pelvic Health Summit, I really encourage you, put it on your agenda for next year, because it was incredible and it will really lift you up and give you that support. Fill yourself up with being around all these amazing, amazing practitioners, and Lindsey puts on an amazing event that is just, you've got to come. Please do what you can to make it a priority and come fill yourself up and learn and grow. And I'm just so grateful to those of you that did attend my talk and are able to take that information into your practice and already start making changes with your clients. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's the reason I did it. Okay. We're all about helping moms to heal better after birth. And thank you for doing what you're doing. So thank you, Lindsey, for all that you've done and are doing.
Thank you, Lynn. I hope you'll consider being at our 2024 events. And who knows, maybe we could do a lab together, something to just keep on growing. Because actually you were at our virtual summit the year before. So this is starting to become a thing.
Okay. I'm there. I'm there.
Awesome. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you again so much, Lynn.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Take care.
I'm so glad you're here. This is a replay of a live training I did inside the OTs for Pelvic Health Facebook group with Lindsey Vestal, and I wanted to make sure that everyone gets access to it. Pelvic health is such an incredibly fulfilling specialty, and it's growing so much. I've been training OT since 2018, and my goal is to have over 10,000 OTs trained by the year 2030. I'm so glad you're here learning about this specialty. I hope that you can join us in the OTs for Pelvic Health Facebook group with me, Lindsey Vestal. I will link to the group below in the show notes and description. Thank you so much.